Today's story is Jellybean Jamboree. Chapter 1. The Great Jellybean Contest. In the bustling town of Snackville, where candy shops sparkled like treasure troves and the air was sweet with the scent of sugar, lived a group of friends unlike any other. At the center of this quirky crew was a bright, cheerful jellybean named Jolly. Jolly was no ordinary jellybean. He was a rainbow-colored wonder, full of energy and always ready for a laugh. With his bouncy demeanor and a knack for making everyone giggle, he had a special place in the hearts of his friends. There was also Crunchy, the wise-cracking potato chip with a sharp wit that could slice through any awkward silence. Next came Gummy, a soft and squishy gummy bear who wore a perpetual smile and could bounce into any conversation with a playful quip. And let's not forget Fizzy, the sparkling soda can who was always fizzing with excitement and had a knack for popping up at the most unexpected times. One sunny afternoon, as the friends gathered in the park, Jolly exclaimed, "I have a fantastic idea. Let's have a jellybean contest. Whoever can eat the most jelly beans in 1 minute wins a whole bag of the rarest candies from Mr. Sweet's shop." "Count me in," Crunchy replied, crunching down on his own chip. "But we should definitely set some ground rules. I don't want to end up with a jellybean hangover." "What's a jellybean hangover?" Gummy asked, his head tilted in curiosity. "It's when you eat so many jelly beans that your tummy feels like a bouncy castle," Crunchy explained, and they all burst into laughter. Okay, we'll keep it safe. No jellybean hangovers," Jolly declared, his colorful body bouncing with enthusiasm. "Let's gather the jelly beans." As they scurried around Snackville, they encountered a peculiar sight, a giant rainbow jellybean tower that looked like it had just popped out from a candy dream. It was taller than any of them and shimmered in the sunlight like a sugary beacon. "Whoa, look at that!" Fizzy exclaimed, his can rattling with excitement. "That's the biggest jelly bean I've ever seen. We could use it for our contest. But how do we get it down?" Gummy wondered. "It looks like it's stuck up there." "Leave it to me," Jolly said, puffing out his jellybean chest. "I'll climb it." The others watched, their eyes wide with anticipation as Jolly began to ascend the jellybean tower. With each bounce, he reached for the next jellybean, his sticky hands grasping onto the colorful treats. "Just a little higher," he puffed, determination sparkling in his sugary eyes. "Hurry, Jolly. You're going to get too high," Crunchy called, his voice a mix of worry and excitement. "I can do it. Just a few more jelly beans," Jolly replied as he reached for the glimmering top. But in a sudden twist of fate, the tower wobbled, and with a loud crunch, Jolly found himself tumbling down, landing with a soft plop right into Gummy's open arms. "Gotcha!" Gummy laughed, his squishy form absorbing the fall. "Thanks, Gummy. That was exhilarating," Jolly said, shaking the jellybean dust from his colorful body. "Now what do we do?" Fizzy asked, tilting his head slightly. "We can build our own jellybean tower," Crunchy suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "We can stack them, and whoever can eat the most from the top without knocking it down wins." "Brilliant!" Jolly exclaimed, bouncing around excitedly. "Let's do it." Chapter 2. Building the Tower. The friends set to work, gathering all the jelly beans they could find. They collected red, blue, yellow, and even the elusive purple jelly beans that Jolly had always wanted to try. As they began to stack the jelly beans, the tower grew taller and taller, wobbling precariously with each addition. Careful, Gummy said, his eyes wide as he observed the tower tilt. "It looks like a jellybean skyscraper. More like a jellybean disaster waiting to happen," Crunchy joked, trying to steady the tower with his chip-like hands. "Don't worry, I've got this," Jolly said confidently, adding a few more jelly beans to the top. But just as he placed the last one, the whole tower began to sway. "Oh!" Fizzy squeaked. "It's going to fall. Everyone stand back," Jolly shouted as the tower teetered, and then, with a spectacular crash, the jelly beans tumbled down in a colorful avalanche. The friends erupted in laughter. Jelly beans rolling everywhere. That's one way to lose a contest, Crunchy joked, picking up a stray jelly bean that had landed on his head. Let's make a jelly bean snowman instead, Gummy suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. We can stack them like we did with the tower, but this time let's give it a face. As they began crafting their jelly bean snowman, they started to decorate it with candy corn for a hat and licorice for a scarf. Look at him. He's dapper, Fizzy exclaimed, bubbling with enthusiasm. Dapper. More like a jelly bean fashion disaster. Crunchy chuckled, mimicking a runway walk with exaggerated movements, making the jelly bean snowman wobble. Just give him a little swagger, Jolly added, doing a funny dance that made everyone burst into laughter. But suddenly Jolly stopped. Wait, what if we turn this jelly bean snowman into a jelly bean contest mascot? He can cheer us on. Great idea, Gummy said, bouncing in excitement. Let's name him Mr. Jellybean. Hooray for Mr. Jellybean! The friends shouted together, raising their jelly beans in a celebratory cheer. Chapter 3. The contest begins. With Mr. Jellybean standing proudly in the park, the friends decided it was time to start the contest. They gathered around, each holding their own pile of jelly beans, ready for the challenge. All right, everyone, remember the rules, Jolly announced, his voice brimming with excitement. We have 1 minute to eat as many jelly beans as we can. No hands allowed. Wait, no hands. Crunchy squawked, his eyes wide. How am I supposed to eat jelly beans without hands? I'll end up with jelly bean on my face. Exactly, Fizzy bubbled. That's the fun part. On your marks, get set, go. Today's
Jolly
story is the wondrous adventures of their jelly flipperflop. Faces smushed down against the colorful pile. In the colorful land of Wobbleton, everywhere as they tried to gobble them up, with pink clouds and trees puffed out like a balloon. Their trunks, while Crunchy was trying to scoop jelly beans into his mouth with his Academy of Wizardry, but ended up just knocking them over. Hey, it was filled with floating over my jelly beans, animals, Jolly and a potion room that smelled like freshly baked Crunchy. Yum. Fizzy started
Among
to
the
fizz and
students
bubble
was a
with
bright-eyed,
bushy-tailed apprentice wizard named
right
Ziggy
out of his
Flipperflop,
can.
bouncing
Ziggy
across
was
the
8
grass
years
like
old
colorful
and wore a
little
hat
balls.
that was just a tad
I'm
too big
losing
for his
jelly
head.
beans.
It
He shouted
flopped over
through
his
his
giggles
eyes and made him
I
look
think
like a
I'm
walking
winning.
mushroom. Gummy
But
squeaked,
Ziggy didn't mind.
trying to fit more jelly beans
He
into
dreamed
his
of
mouth
becoming
than
the best
seemed wizard
physically
in all of
possible.
Wobbleton. Just as the
And he had
timer
a plan
buzzed,
to prove it.
they all stopped.
One sunny morning,
jelly beans
Ziggy
spilling
stood
from their
outside
mouths
the
and
grand
faces
entrance
smeared
of the
with sticky
academy,
sweetness, clutching his
I can't
wand.
believe we
But
did
oh
that.
dear,
His
Crunchy
wand was a bit
exclaimed,
wobbly.
trying to catch his
It had a
breath.
habit of bending
won?
like a noodle
Gummy
whenever he
asked,
tried to
looking
cast
around
spells.
at the mess.
Today
I
is
think
the
we
day.
all did.
Ziggy
Jolly
declared,
laughed, raising his
that was the
wand
most
high.
fun contest
I will show
ever.
everyone that
The
I am the
friends
most
burst into
magical
laughter.
wizard ever.
Realizing that the
With
real
that,
prize
he
wasn't the
marched
jelly
into the
beans or the
academy,
rare candies, but
his
the joy
hat
they
bouncing
shared
with
and the
every
memories
step.
they created
The
together.
inside, the hallways
After the
sparkled
contest,
with enchantment.
the friends decided to
Paintings of
throw an
famous
after
wizards
party
winked
to
at him,
celebrate their
and
hilarious
the floors
day.
were made of shimmering
They gathered
tiles
all
that
the
hummed
leftover
cheerful
jelly
tunes
beans
and laid them
Hurry
out
up,
like a
Ziggy.
colorful feast. Shouted
This
his
is the
best
best
friend
jelly
Bella
bean
Bumblebee,
party ever.
who was buzzing around
Fizzy
him.
exclaimed,
Bella was a
popping his
half-wizard,
cap in
half-bee
excitement.
creature with golden
We should have
stripes
jelly
and a
bean
knack for mixing
decorations.
potions.
Let's
We're
use
going
all
to be
the jelly
late for the
beans we
spell-off
spilled
challenge.
everywhere.
The spell-off
Crunchy
challenge was a big deal
already
at the
shoving
academy.
a handful
It was
into
a
his
contest
mouth.
where
They'll
students
make
showcased
great
their most
confetti.
impressive
With
spells.
laughter and joy,
The winner would
they
receive
decorated
the
the
coveted
park with
golden
jelly
cauldron,
beans,
tossing them
magical
in the air
trophy
like
that
confetti.
could brew any
The
potion
sun began
imaginable.
to set.
Ziggy
Casting a
wanted
golden
that
glow
glow
over
more than
Snackville
anything.
as the friends danced,
As they hurried
sang,
to the great
and
hall,
giggled, surrounded
Ziggy's
by a
wand
rainbow
wobbled
of jelly
even
beans.
more.
What
As
if
the
it
sky
doesn't
darkened,
work?
he
Gummy
worried,
suggested,
glancing at Bella.
Let's tell
What if I
stories
turn
about
myself
our
into
favorite
a
jelly
frog
bean
instead of
adventures.
making a sparkly
So
shower?
they sat together,
Don't worry,
munching on
Bella
leftover
buzzed.
jelly beans,
Just believe
sharing
in your
tales
magic.
of their wildest
You've got
candy
this.
dreams.
Ziggy
Each
took
story
a deep
was
breath.
filled with laughter,
Okay, here goes
exaggeration,
nothing. and a
Chapter
sprinkle of
2.
silliness.
The spell-off
Remember
showdown.
that time we tried to
in the
build
great
a candy
hall,
house?
the atmosphere was
Jolly
electric.
started, his eyes
Students
sparkling,
gathered around,
and ended
their
up with
eyes
a candy
gleaming
avalanche.
with excitement.
Oh yes,
The headmaster,
and we
a
turned it
wise
into a
old
candy
owl named
slip and
Professor
slide.
Hoodington,
Fizzy
perched on his
chimed in,
podium,
fizzing with
flapping
excitement.
his wings to get
Or the
everyone's
time
attention.
we thought we could ride a giant
young
chocolate
wizards
bunny.
and witches.
Crunchy added,
Today we will
making
witness
everyone
the most
burst
enchanting
into
spell-off
fits of
challenge
laughter.
ever.
That was a
He
hopping
hooted.
disaster.
Ziggy's heart
As the
raced.
night went on,
He watched
their
as his
laughter
classmates
echoed through
performed
Snackville.
amazing
A
feats.
sweet melody
There
of
was
friendship
Larry the
ringing
lizard,
in the air,
who made colorful
the stars
rainbows
twinkled
appear out
above
of thin
like
air,
sugar sprinkles,
and Tilly Toad,
and the moon smiled
who turned
down,
her pet rock into a
witnessing
bouncing
the joy
ball
of friendship.
Ziggy's
Chapter
turn was
5.
coming up,
And he
the
felt a
morning
mix
after.
of nerves and
The
thrill
next
bubbling
morning,
in
the
his
friends
tummy.
woke up to
Ziggy
a bright and sunny
flibberflop.
day.
Professor
Jolly was the
Hoodington
first
called
called
out,
out,
rolling
"Show
out
us
of
what
bed
you've
with
got."
a bounce.
Ziggy
I can't
stepped
believe
forward,
how much fun
his
we
wand
had.
wobbling in
I
his
feel
hand.
like I can bounce
For my
to
first
the moon.
spell, he announced.
As he stretched and yawned,
I will create a sparkling
he noticed
shower
a trail
of
of
jelly beans leading out
He
of his house.
concentrated hard,
Hey guys,
wiggled his wand,
we
and
left
shouted,
a jelly bean trail,
"Glitterous
he
Maximus."
called.
But
Crunchy,
instead of a
gummy,
shower
and
of
fizzy
sparkles,
stumbled out.
his
Their
wand
eyes
let out a
wide with
loud
surprise.
pop, and a cloud
Where
of
does it
polka-dotted
lead?
confetti
Crunchy
burst into the
asked,
air,
raining
his mouth
down on
still
everyone.
full of jelly beans
The
from the
crowd
night
erupted
before.
in laughter.
"Let's follow
Bella
it,"
buzzed with
Gummy
delight.
suggested,
That's
his
one way to
curiosity
add
peaked.
some pizzazz.
As they followed the
Ziggy
colorful
scratched
trail,
his head.
they laughed
a little
and joked
embarrassed
about where
but
it
not
might lead.
discouraged.
"Maybe to
Okay,
a jelly
let's
bean
try something
treasure,"
else, he said,
Fizzy
grinning.
exclaimed.
How about a
bubbling with
dancing
excitement.
broomstick?
They ventured through the
He
park
waved
and
his
into
wand
the heart
again,
of Snackville,
this time saying,
the jelly bean trail
"Broomstick us
twisting
dance
and
up."
turning,
The broomstick
leading
in the
them to
corner
the
began
sweetest
to wiggle
surprise
and
of
jiggle.
all.
But
The
instead
grand
of
opening
dancing
of Mr.
gracefully,
Sweet's new candy
it
shop,
tripped over its
wow,
own bristles and
look at
fell
all
over with a
those
loud
sweets.
thud.
Jolly
The audience
exclaimed,
roared with laughter,
his rainbow
and
colors
Ziggy couldn't
shimmering
help
with
but
joy.
chuckle too.
"Let's go
Well,
in."
at least it's
Crunchy
trying,
shouted,
he said, bowing
his
dramatically.
eyes shining
Hurry
with
up,
delight.
Ziggy.
Inside
You're
the
running
shop,
out of
everything
time.
was more
Bella
magical than they
buzzed,
had imagined.
flapping her wings
There were candy
anxiously.
walls,
With
chocolate
determination,
rivers, and a
Ziggy
giant
decided to
gumdrop
give it one
mountain in the
last
center.
shot.
The
This
friends
time,
stood
I'll
in
make
awe,
something truly
their mouths
magical.
watering at the sight.
He closed his
"Welcome,
eyes
my
and
delightful
focused.
friends.
I want to
Mr.
summon
Sweet exclaimed,
a surprise.
his mustache twitching
He
with
waved
excitement.
his wand with all
"I
his
see
might
you
and
found
shouted,
my jelly bean trail.
"Abracadabralicious.
Is this a dream?"
Suddenly,
Gummy
a giant
asked.
fluffy bunny appeared.
His eyes sparkling
but this
like
bunny
a treasure
wasn't
trove.
just any bunny.
Not at all.
It wore a top
It's a
hat
celebration
and had
of
a monocle
friendship and
perched
fun.
on its nose.
Just like your
It looked
jelly bean
around,
contest.
twitched its nose, and
Mr.
said,
Sweet declared,
"Well, this is quite
handing
the
out
party,
free
isn't it?"
samples of
The
every
crowd
candy
gasped.
imaginable. Then
The
burst
friends
into
cheered,
applause and laughter,
their hearts swelling
Ziggy's
with joy.
heart swelled
They
with
spent the
joy.
day tasting
"I
sweets,
did it," he
playing
shouted,
games, and
the
creating
bunny
even
hopped
more
around,
joyful memories.
performing tricks.
As they sat
everyone
together,
was
surrounded
enchanted.
by candy,
Ziggy couldn't
Jolly
help but
smiled
smiled
at his friends.
His wand
You know, the
wobbling
best part
proudly
of all
in his
this isn't
hand.
the candy, but the
Chapter
fun
3.
we have together.
The golden cauldron.
Here.
When the
Crunchy
laughter
and
and
Gummy
cheers finally
shouted,
settled down,
raising their
Professor
candy-filled
Hoodington
hands in
flapped his
agreement,
wings and declared,
Fizzy fizzed
and
with
the winner
excitement.
of this year's
To
spell-off
friendship,
challenge is
jelly beans,
Ziggy
and the best
Flibberflop.
adventures.
Ziggy's
And
eyes
so,
widened
with laughter
in
ringing in the
disbelief.
air and candy in their hands,
Really? They
the
celebrated their
headmaster
friendship,
nodded,
knowing
and the
that
crowd
no matter what
erupted
adventures
into
lay
cheers.
ahead,
Bella
they would
buzzed
always stick
excitedly,
together like jelly beans
flying
in a
around
jar.
Ziggy's head
Chapter
in a flurry
6.
of joy.
You
A
did
sweet
it, Ziggy.
promise.
You
As the
proved
sun
you're the
began to
best
set
wizard.
on that perfect day,
As Ziggy
the friends
accepted the
gathered
golden
outside
cauldron,
Mr. Sweet's shop.
he couldn't
Their
stop
hearts
smiling.
full of joy,
It
and their
shimmered
tummies
with a
full of
golden
treats.
glow.
We should
and he
make
could
a
already
promise.
imagine all
Jolly
the delicious
suggested,
potions
his
he would
eyes
create.
sparkling.
But just
A
then,
promise.
the fluffy bunny
Crunchy
hopped up to
asked,
him and
raising
said,
an eyebrow.
"Congratulations,
What kind of
young
promise?
wizard.
A
You
promise
made
to
everyone
always
laugh,
have adventures
and that's
together.
the true magic.
No matter what."
Ziggy grinned.
Jolly
"Thank you,
declared,
Mr. Bunny.
bouncing on
I
his
guess
jelly
being a
bean
little
feet.
silly can be magical
I like
too."
that. As
Gummy
the
said,
celebration
clapping
continued,
his soft paws
Ziggy
together,
realized that it
"Let's
wasn't
do
just
it."
about winning.
Fizzy
It was
fizzed
about
with
having
excitement,
fun, making friends,
yes,
and
a
embracing the
friendship
magic
adventure
of laughter.
promise.
As the
Crunchy
sun began to
sighed,
set,
shaking his
casting
head
a warm
with a
glow
smile
over Wobbleton,
"All right,
Ziggy,
I'm in.
Bella.
But
And
let's
the bunny
keep the
danced
jelly
around
bean
the great hall
contest to once
giggling
a month,
and casting
okay?
little spells
I
that
can't
made take too many jelly bean
everywhere.
hangovers.
Ziggy looked
They
around
all
at his
burst
friends,
into laughter,
his heart
agreeing
full of
on
joy.
Crunchy's rule.
I may not have
They
the
joined
most perfect
hands,
spells,
their
but I
hearts
have the
connected
best
in that
friends
moment
and the
of
most
sweetness
fun.
and friendship.
And with that,
From that
the
day
laughter
on, Jolly,
continued,
Crunchy,
echoing
Gummy,
through the
and
halls
Fizzy
of the
embarked on
whimsical
countless
academy of
adventures,
wizardry, each
where
filled
magic
with
and
laughter,
joy were
silliness,
always just a
and
wand
of course
wave away.
plenty of jelly beans.
Every escapade brought them closer, reminding them that friendship was the sweetest treat of all. And so, Snackville continued to buzz with laughter, and the Jellybean friends made memories that sparkled brighter than any candy in the world. They learned that through laughter, cooperation, and a sprinkle of silliness, the bonds of friendship could only grow stronger, like a towering jellybean masterpiece. As they ventured off into the sunset, they couldn't wait to see what their next big adventure would be, knowing that as long as they had each other, every day would be a sweet surprise. And with hearts full of joy and laughter, they promised to always stick together, just like jelly beans in a jar, ready for whatever sweet adventure awaited them next.